rifling through those long boxes.
It's gotta be here, it's gotta be here, it's gotta be here. Aha! Here it is!
And bagging those books.
I'm out of bags and boards again.
Welcome to your home for Star Wars comics.
The Cosmic Force Podcast,
A Youtini Podcast Network production. And now, here are your hosts, Parker Kirk, Caleb Lamanek, and Jacob Bosch.
now go!
Welcome everyone to the Cosmic Force, your bi-weekly Star Wars comics podcast. We're here not live on youtube.com/Youtini every other Wednesday, as well as all your favorite podcasting apps. Thanks everyone for tuning in this week. If you want to support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/Youtini, where for as little as $5 a month, you can gain exclusive access to our entire Youtini podcast networks of shows. And with that out of the way, Caleb, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing actually really great. It's been kind of a wacky week because, IRL, just some car issues with my wife's car. Finally got that back today. But starting a new job, so that's always exciting. And yeah, we'll get into a little bit more later, but I went into some previous Dark Horse 09, 08 sort of comics. And there's a real hidden gem here I want to talk to you guys about in a second. But it's been really good so far.
Nice. And Oz, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. As of 5 minutes ago, less great. The Rangers are playing right now, although you did just mention we're not live, so anyone listening or watching already knows the score. They can Google it, but I am wearing my Rangers jersey in solidarity. Hopefully, by the time you hear this, we are in the World Series, but it's not looking great tonight. So otherwise, doing good though.
I have very little interest in baseball, but I am pulling for you because I know the Astros suck. So,
yeah, just factually. A bunch of cheaters.
It was what's the line that just a piece of metal or whatever, the trophy.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, we have a lot to talk about this week because it was New York City Comic-Con this week, which means lots of news. Normally, a lot of the Star Wars publishing panels as of late have been here's some things that you've already seen. Mm-hmm. Here's a few interior reveals. And it's okay. We got a lot of news, starting off with a new miniseries. The first one is Star Wars Mace Windu, written by Mark Bernardin. That's coming in February of 2024, I think. It was not the January slits this came out today, and it was not in them. So it's probably February or March of next year. This is not to be confused with the Star Wars Jedi of the Republic Mace Windu miniseries.
Yeah. Which we were just talking about, that with the fact that they named it, because that was back when every series was named just someone's name.
Right.
Which we kind of got away with, thankfully, or away from. But they had that subtitle, so we were like, oh, well, they're going to do a miniseries for Kit Fisto and Yadi Mundi, and then they never went back to it.
It's, same thing with the Inquisitor book where it's did you need to put the colon there?
Right. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, Mace is cool, right? I know people really like him, so he's an obvious choice. I would like to see one of those others, or Plo Koon. I mean, we could name them all. Yeah. But this is cool. It's a good precedent. Hopefully, it's a bummer that it's just called Star Wars Mace Windu and not I don't know, Shatterpoint. I know that one's taken, but something cool.
I mean, we're taking Heir to the Empire again, so does it matter?
Mace Windu, Viped or something. And this is Mark Bernardin. He hasn't done Star Wars before, I don't think, right?
I want to say I looked him up. I want to say he was in one of the Vader Black, White, and Red stories, maybe, or I might be thinking of someone else. But
he was in Black, White, and Red #3. Yes.
Okay.
Was it the spy one? The one that
I can't tell you. Wikipedia doesn't get that specific. That's fine. Wikipedia would have, but I was going for a quick.
We're good. I'm sure it'll be a cool story. It would have been cool to do.
Community. He also did he's done. Though he's been in the comics industry for a while now. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of Static Shock and a couple other major ones.
Nice. Yeah, it would be cool to see some other Jedi. But the nice thing is, we got the Living Force coming out next year anyways. So you're going to get every Jedi.
Yeah.
All the important ones. So yeah, this is coming next year, early next year. The next one, I specifically have said online this was not going to happen, and yet here we are. We're getting Thrawn Alliances, the adaptation, like what 5 or 6 years after the book came out.
Yeah, the last. I mean, I don't remember when Alliances came out, but the Thrawn adaptation miniseries came out in 2018.
Yeah,
so,
and in 2018 is when the book itself came out. So that's
okay.
Oh lordy, is that actually?
It's been 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years now. It'll be like 6 by the time this miniseries is.
Yeah,
This was the most obvious reveal of New York City Comic Con 2019. But then
but the fact that happened in 2023.
Yeah.
It's because we had the Revelations cover with Thrawn on the cover, and I'm like, people were like, it's Alliances. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah,
like
well,
the last Revelation,
the Ahsoka adaptation.
Yeah, I'm like the last Revelations didn't do it. Like didn't really touch adaptations at all. It was like what was currently happening. So I didn't believe it was happening. And also now I think about it, Mace Windu was also on that cover as well.
Yeah, so that makes I hadn't even thought about that. Which it's weird because the last Revelations was like, here's what's coming in the Dark Droids event mainly, and like with all the ongoing. So it's like kind of a future vision that Vader has. I don't know how they're going to work in a flashback to this double flashback book.
My original thought, because like the cover kind of has a Shatterpoint-y design, was that like Mace Windu would have some like Force Vision-y kind of see all these things for some reason. But yeah, I mean, but anyways, back to Alliances. This is written by Timothy Zahn and Jody Hauser, with art from Andrea DeVito and Pat Alife. And we don't know how many. It's a miniseries, obviously. We're not sure if it's 5 or 6 issues. It didn't say in the solicit today. But it is starting January 24. And interestingly enough, the first issue is 40 pages. So we're gonna give it a good amount of time to breathe. Yeah.
A lot of people seem really excited, which is great. I'm not super crazy about book adaptations in comic form. The first one I liked because like we got to see Eli Vanto, which was neat. I also didn't love this book, but that's just, I mean, a lot of people like it.
Like this guy, I like this book.
Yeah, there you go. See, so I don't know. It's cool. People are stoked because we get to see the Grisk.
Yes, that's honestly the thing I'm most excited for about this. Is these aliens have been teased for 5 years and have become an important role in like 5 different books. We are now seeing for the first time, and canonically they have been to Galaxy's Edge. So
yeah, actually, I guess we'll go to Batu in this. And see. I don't know. Doc Ondar will probably be in the background.
Right.
It's cool though that Zahn is co-writing. At first, when I saw the announcement, I just figured a lot of times an adaptation, like the original writer will get a credit, but it sounds like based on what Jody Hauser said that Zahn's actually working on it. So I wonder if there will be some like changes or additions or something to make this cooler.
The one thing that I've I've kind of thought about, and I've seen a lot of other people comment about, is that with the, he has his pilot bring him in. We now know who the pilot is,
right?
It's Cheery. So you could have a cutaway of her being off, in the shuttle, dropping him off.
Yeah, I forgot that she doesn't actually get named in this book, and only in the Ascendancy. Right. Is Aralani in this? Because that would at least make me more excited.
I can't remember.
I don't think so. I think she's
mainly in Treason, but I kind of honestly mix up the plot of these 2 books at times.
She shows up in the very last panel of the last adaptation of Thrawn itself.
Yeah, when Eli gets dropped off.
Yes, that's right. I mean, it's cool that they're continuing this because it always felt weird that they just did the first one. It's still weird that they did it at all. But I think this all but confirms we'll get a Treason. And then I honestly think they'll do Alliances because Thrawn hype is, or what's it? I said Alliances. They're doing Ascendancy.
Ascendancy.
Yeah, I think they'll do. Thrawn hype's kind of at an all-time high.
That is true.
I was about to say, we'll see how the movie version, the rest of the television version, fares, and see how the general population of Star Wars fans get really into Thrawn.
Yeah, I would. But
I mean, that's got to be why they're doing this, is because he just showed up. The biggest thing with how could you not have done this earlier? It's
Thrawn sells and Vader sells, and you get to put them on the same cover of every single comic book. Like, it's
you
ridiculous.
get to do the little split screen.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, there's literally a variant
yeah.
of like, it's like a split face of like Thrawn and Vader looking down on the Chimera. Yeah, so about time is what I would say.
Even though you didn't think it would ever happen.
That is true. But we're still only halfway through the news. We also have two new. We have a new series of graphic novels from Dark Horse. These are the first ones. This is Hyperspace Story Qui-Gon and Hyperspace Stories Obi-Wan. Not to be confused with the current ongoing comic line called Hyperspace Stories, which is ending after issue 12.
I think this is basically just taking that spot.
Yeah, so these are going to be original graphic novels, just like published as one volume. So the Qui-Gon story is by George Mann and Andrea Muti, and the Obi-Wan one is from Cecil Castellucci and Lucas Morangan. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure these will be fun.
I'm stoked about this because Qui-Gon is the coolest. I know people have their beef with him. And also, so the solicit came out for the Qui-Gon one, and it's going to feature the Brothers of the Ninth Door, I think I'm getting that right, which are from the Battle of Jeddah and Phase 2 of the High Republic. So that's cool continuity. I mean, and George Mann wrote that.
Right.
That is real exciting.
We got it. Yeah. And it's the solicit also like list off like a bunch of like, popular prequels characters. I don't know if that was like teasing who might get stories next, or if they're just like, here's all these popular characters. Right now, we're giving you Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and stay tuned.
Like I said, you were literally just talking about, Oz was like, we need like a Ki-Adi Mundi and a Kit Fisto one. So
yeah, and we got to see what size of book Dark Horse decides to publish this in.
I mean, you guys have been like,
Yeah, it's like I got my
but there you are.
Tales from the Death Star. I do not have my Rancor Pit one next to me to compare it with, but I don't care I don't care if they pick something different for these Hyperspace Stories ones, but the Hyperspace Stories have to match each other, especially if they're going to do a bunch of them.
Yeah. I really hope that they don't call it quits at 2. I feel like that stuff happens sometimes.
It said, I mean, it could happen, but like it did say, like, first in the series.
Right. I've got $30 that the third one's going to be Mace. I just like he's kind of the next most popular.
Yeah. I think
Mace or Yoda.
Yeah, I feel like they're always so hesitant to do Yoda stories.
We just got a 10-issue maxi series.
Right. So now we won't get to see him again for 5 years.
Well, we've also, got an Obi-Wan Marvel miniseries that was not the TV show like 2 years or a year and a half ago. Yeah. So,
this I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think just for the memes, a Ki-Adi Mundi one would be amazing, especially if we go visit his honor wives on
if they
Syria.
canonize that.
But what about a droid attack on the Wookiees?
Yes.
Oh, but okay, so we got that. Next one's not a comics news, but I'm throwing it in anyways because I think it's sick. It is Stellan Gios is getting the first real, like, legit piece of High Republic merch. That his lightsaber is being sold.
It's a good choice, man.
His lightsaber is being sold at the Disney parks and on Shop Disney sometime this fall. It's going to be in like a nice collector's box like they've done for a few of the other ones, which means to me, I think this is going to be $300, even though they have not announced the price yet. And it will not come with a blade. Fun fact.
Oh, really?
Probably not. That's not
BYOB.
What about the little mini blades?
Those probably have to come included, unless they're planning on selling something else that's going to utilize that. So yeah, you get it's going to become a nice box. It had some other extra added goodies, but I don't think it'll be anything too significant. But it looks sick. The it has the side blades. The arms do articulate. Although I saw like a picture of it that like Disney's like TikTok or Star Wars has been posting basically like TikTok style clips on their main account for a couple weeks now, and they're always kind of weird. But it showed the arms articulating the wrong way, so they fold along the handle instead of going up towards where the blade would be. So we'll see.
They go up and down.
Yeah, if they go both ways, it's fine. But
it's the High Republic. Most people go both ways.
Okay, that's pretty good. This is also going to be limited to 5,000 pieces. I think it's numbered probably. I think the other ones were. So
that sounds like a lot to me.
I think it's the kind of thing where if you are on your computer on the drop, you're probably going to be fine.
I mean, Eric just got a Cal Kestis one, and I think it's numbered out of 5,000.
Yeah, I don't know if
a lot more popular than Stellan. No,
that is true.
High Republic fans. Do either of y'all collect lightsabers? Or
I typically don't. I have like a Force FX Anakin Skywalker one from like 10 years ago now.
I got like an like a random like ultra saber, like again, like 10, 15, like maybe even 12 years ago. It was really cool because I got the orange color because I thought that'd be really cool. And now like with like both Rey's and the then Skull's one from Ahsoka, like orange is now an official color. I'm like, haha, I'm justified.
I don't have any either, or I don't have any at all, and I don't collect them. So I will not be buying this, but I'm super stoked for just like the implications that they're making.
Yeah,
that's cool. I mean, it just like legitimizes the High Republic a little more.
It is the best design.
It's so I mean, it's. I'm really stoked for people who do collect them. I know there's plenty of Youtini people who will be buying it.
Eric will be all over it. Yeah,
it will be hanging from Eric's wall next spring.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks sick. Can't wait. Hopefully this means more real merch will happen. You know, maybe some Black Series, maybe a Funko. Like
right now, your options are a Nubs ornament, and that's about it.
Did you say a Nubs ornament?
Yeah, mine's packed away. I already packed mine away with the Christmas stuff, but I just got mine too.
Yeah. So, okay. Now on to some more somber news. That's why I dressed up today. Have not mentioned, I guess I'm wearing a suit for the audio listeners. We got some rough news at the end of the New York City Comic-Con panel, and that is Star Wars Bounty Hunter, written by Ethan Sachs and previously with art from Paolo Villanelli. I cannot honestly remember who the new artist is, but they're doing great. They're killing it. The series will be coming to an end next year, after issue number 42. We just got the last cover today. And it's tough out here for Balance Nation folks. It's been a great run, I think, for this character. I am very terrified that he will literally just die at the end. And that'll be rough. But he is going back to Tatooine to do a mission, maybe to rescue Han Solo, who's on the cover in carbonite form.
Last mission,
one last ride for
man. I really hope Balance. He gets Han back safely.
Yeah, it's really sad. I've been really enjoying this comic series. I've said many times that it took me a while to get into it, but once I did, it's been very good. So, I will hope this character comes back in some form, maybe issue 108 of the 2020 run, since it seems like it's going to keep going that long. Would be a great number for him to show back up in.
Yeah. But a thought I just had, nothing about the titles say that those hyperspace stories have to be about Jedi.
That's true.
Maybe Valence gets one.
Hyperspace stories, Baylor Valence.
Yeah. I was about to say, Valence is such a great popular character amongst the young adult and kid and child market,
He's right in that Dark Horse target audience. No, I was like you, that the first arc or two wasn't getting me. And then when I read issue 12, I think was the one that ended the second arc, it like tied the whole thing together. I was like, oh, okay, I get this now. Yeah. It was super chaotic for a while. It's crazy that it's been almost 4 years, though. I didn't think this series was going to last at all. Just because, I don't know, it felt like the fourth most important one. I
definitely get that. And I think for the not like diehards, it is probably a tougher sell to be called Bounty Hunters and not be a Boba Fett book.
Right. He's on the cover of the first issue and he shows up maybe for just that one. Yeah.
He's in the first arc, but and he pops up here and there. But I was like talking with people on Twitter being like, what do we think the omnibus cover is going to be? And they're like, someone posted like a really nice one, but like 3/4 of it is Boba Fett. And it's like, I don't know if that's representative of the run, but
which means it'll be that.
Yeah. They're like, hey, folks, we need you to buy this. Again, assuming an omnibus is made, but 42 is a great round number for it. Also, 4 years, no annuals. Star Wars needs to bring these back.
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth on how I feel about annuals. Just because, and one shots, just because Marvel doesn't collect them right.
Hey, the rumor is Storms of Crate is somehow making its way into that second volume. We had missed it, but apparently, with a very nihil interlude is making it into Monster of Temple Peak or whatever.
Yeah, it's called Monster of Temple Peak and Other Stories.
Yeah, the goofiest name.
Story.
My favorite is like
the complete Phase 1. And then the rest of Phase 1 from Dark Horse.
And the funniest, like if you go on Wikipedia now and you search up Monster of Temple Peak trade paperback, there will be one link, which is the And Other Stories, which is the one we're getting now. And then there's the old Panini one that just had, the 4 issues, how it was supposed to be. So great times. Not confusing at all. But it's very sad we're losing Valance. However, Ethan Sachs, the writer, is not done with Star Wars. He's getting another miniseries. Miniseries Star Wars Jango Fett, written by Ethan Sachs and with art from Luke Ross, which is super exciting. Coming out, I think March of 2024. Again, a miniseries. A lot of prequel stuff. Like basically everything except for even Alliances is half prequels. Everything we got today was prequels or this week. So
it's interesting. It's so funny. Yeah, the timing of these sort of Attack of the Clones era books and like Mace and Jango at the same time.
Yeah.
It can't be an accident. I mean,
That's
I don't
true.
think it's going to both series end with the same scene.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like the StarWars.com write-ups, like it's the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. And I'm like, none of these are really ostensibly Phantom Menace things, but I'll take
Mace
it.
was in because we don't really have any information on the stories.
There's 2 Mace Windows in Phantom Menace, right?
Oh, yeah, at the end, which I think they actually did at some point give him a name.
A name, okay.
I don't know what his canon status is. But yeah, Jango Fett, that's cool. I like his Age of Republic one shot.
Mm-hmm.
More prequel stuff is always fun.
And he was in the Bounty Hunt. There was a flashback with Jango Fett in some of the recent Bounty Hunters issues. So kind of cool. Maybe we'll get some ties between the two. I like with all of this prequel stuff. Do we think, when this era of Star Wars comics ends, are we going to maybe be establishing mainline runs in the prequel era?
I mean, it feels like that.
I feel that would be kind of fun to do something like that, like the old Star Wars, like the 99 run that started there and
the Republic
and then turned into Republic. I feel like there's the problem is the Clone Wars, the series has definitely taken up a lot of the episode 2 to 3 chunk there. So having an actual series between 1 and 2 would be good. Maybe the problem is there's not a lot going on war-wise in the galaxy. So it's not there's still stuff going on, but it's not like you have the actual war going on.
Yeah, but. So if you treat it like how Star Wars is following Luke, Leia, Han, Lando,
who's your main cast?
Yeah, it's got to be Obi and Anakin.
Yes. I think there's the amount of content between episodes 1 and 2 is so insanely small.
Oh yeah,
right.
It's like the Obi-Wan and Anakin miniseries. Queen Shadow? No, is Shadow?
Yeah, Shadow. Shadow is the one right after.
Because it's when she's ending her reign as a queen and becoming a senator. That's it, pretty much.
Yeah, well, and Hope also has to be in.
No, that's during the Clone Wars.
You're right, it is. Okay, yeah. So basically,
that's basically all that's happening in that span of 10 years or whatever.
So they have 10 years there, so they can do so much work in there.
Yeah, there's nothing that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a area ripe for the picking. It's funny because people will be we had the post A New Hope comics, we had the post Empire Strikes Back comics. I'll see people just say post Return of the Jedi comics. I'm like, that's an assumption that I don't know.
Assuming that for
I don't know if that's gonna happen, especially with the TV show stuff.
So maybe we're seeing all this prequel era stuff is to prime us so that Marvel can see how excited we are to buy all this and see if that's the direction they want to go. Yeah,
we'll see. But anyways, a lot of news. So I guess what have we been reading lately that is newsworthy? Caleb, I know you have a few things.
I do have. I have a few. Well, one thing. As I said, I read the 2009. There's like a Dark Horse miniseries called like Star Wars Adventures. I know it's super confusing because, they did like the later Star Wars Adventures series back when Marvel got the main line. There is wild. But there's like a series of like 6 like little stories, I think 5 or 6 stories there, each one focusing on a different character, like Luke. There's a Boba Fett one that was pretty good. There's the couple of the ones where there's a Leia one that wasn't that good, but there's a Chewbacca one that called Chewbacca and the Slavers of the Shadowlands. And I just want to like throw this out there. I think this is a massive hidden gem. Like it's written by the writer. There's a writer, and then the artist was, I want to specifically shout her out, was Jennifer L. Meyer. Hasn't done any other comics other than this. If you go to her website, she does nothing but like children's books here. But hold on, let me see about putting this up here. Look at this art here.
Dang, that's dope.
It's dope.
Yeah.
It's like, what? When I was reading this, like every time I was flipping the page, I'm like, what? Why is this so good? It's like a kind of like, it's like almost like a children's book there, but there's like enough like darkness and like people die and like, that's the titular Slavers of the Shadowlands, and they're like, actual threats, and like the action flows really well from like panel to panel. So when there's like an action scene, it's like the last person I saw this do it so well in Star Wars was Villanelli in Bounty Hunters. Like Bounty Hunters, like the action scenes are so good. Like it's almost similar to this. It's almost like a shame that no one else has done this. So if you ever see like the 09, adventures, Star Wars Adventures, you should look it up there. It's find a Chewbacca and the Slavers of the Shadowlands. It's nice. Fun because each one is like 60, 70 pages long. So it's like each issue is like 3 comics. So it's actually can really develop a story.
Also, it looks like they give you translations for the Shuriwook there.
Yes. The entire thing is not just.
It's not a holiday special time.
They learned the holiday special.
I don't think that they've ever translated really like any other than like Huddies and stuff.
They do Huddies a lot.
Chewbacca has never been, R2 never gets speech bubbles. The Ewoks, one of my favorite comics is the Vader's Castle #3 from the first one.
Okay.
It's all just Ewoks like chirping at each other. But like the Chewbacca miniseries had the human character who kind of like
translated for them. Like they didn't even translate Chewbacca in his own little series, but no, in this
so
one,
it's so weird to see English speech bubbles for him.
Awesome. It looks cool. For myself, I read quite a bit this past 2 weeks. I've read Crimson Climb, then just because I was in a solo mood, I did the novelization, so I think I've basically read every solo thing at this point. And then Tales from the Death Star, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know. There were definitely some good stories. I don't know if I like this more or less than Rancor Pit. But I thought it was cool.
What about Vader's Castle, which compared to?
I don't know that I've read all. I think I've read the first series. I don't know that I ever finished all of them.
They're so good.
Yeah.
The first one is really good. The second one is also really good. And there's a third one.
Which I think is also that was really never collected, and then
there's
uncollected one shot
in the middle, a one shot that wasn't collected, and then Ghosts at the end.
Yeah.
The IDW, classic IDW and Dark Horse both kind of give the pooch on collections.
Not to speak ill of the dead here or anything, but
yeah, I hopefully that it'd be great for Dark Horse to come along and put everything in a Vader's bundle. But
because if they don't, then I'm gonna have to make it myself, and I really don't feel like doing that.
This sounds kind of like a pain. So
I will, but
go to Staples. Like, here, can you spiral bind all these together?
Yeah, hey, I've done it. Oh,
yeah, So I've not read this week, but Oz and I have our matching High Republic Phase 1 Omnibuy.
Hold on, they're not. Oh, they are matching. Okay,
they are matching. We both got the same cover. I think Jared also got this cover as well.
We both got the Ario cover. There's a Phil Noto cover as well, which is an awesome cover.
But
this one fits the series better, I think. Plus, it's Ario, and I've got a represent. I've got him.
Yeah, the only thing is we got the blue saber for skier. It was a bit of a throw off, but it's
I
fine.
can't remember who has what other than Mace.
So, but the thing with the Phil Note cover that was interesting is the number 1 cover, iconic.
Yeah,
could have used that. They denied. They used the number 15 cover, which is like basically the number 1 cover, but Starlight Beacon is burning in the background, and everyone's
it's the number
like,
1 cover, but
up.
angry.
Yeah, it's the like just drag through the street number 1 cover, and they're like,
it's the after photograph.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So, but it's great. I'm going to be probably rereading this week. So,
so if for those who don't know about it, it has all 15 issues of the Marvel run from the first phase, plus Trail of Shadows and Eye of the Storm. It collects them just like that, which I think is the right way to do it.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's another way.
Trev would tell you, we mention him every week, but Trev would tell you to do it in timeline order. I think this is the only way that makes sense.
A little chaotic
to a normal reader. Yeah.
Like let's never like Trev. I would love to see and one of these days read your idea of how your way of reading. War of the Bounty Hunters? But
it's terrifying.
It's so chaotic. It is panels.
It's panel by panel. It's not even page by page. It's a panel by panel reordering of every single issue and tie-in to War of the Bounty Hunters to be timeline accurate, which is like Darth Vader alone makes a nightmare.
Yeah,
because that's just like jumping back and forth the whole time.
We've been talking about Dark Droids some, which we will talk about here in a second. But
yeah, we're almost there.
He's
half an hour
in.
He's so frustrated by like every little cross. Actually, Dark Droids not as much, but the Hidden Empire one I think was tough for him.
That was,
but this, I mean, Marvel does a great job with their omnibus collections when they release them. Whoever's listening, Poe Dameron, please. It's like all I want. We didn't mention in the news. I don't remember. I think this was this week, but they did officially announce Phase 2.
Oh, right, the Phase 2 omnibus. Yeah. It's coming out next November. I think was the release date for it.
It's a while from now.
So
will that have the Blade as well?
It'll have the Blade. It'll be an insanely short omnibus at 14 issues between Phase 2 and the Blade.
Yeah, so it'll be cute. Kind of like Kanan had an omnibus at 12 issues.
Yeah, if it costs more than $80, I'm going to lose my mind.
I think it'll be 75 is my prediction.
Yeah. Hopefully blue spine.
I'm hoping it's a white spine with the blue logo, but we'll see. I just want them to match and then follow up the pattern for Phase 3. God, we're so pathetic, but
the funny thing is that this is the Light of the Jedi one because it's named for the phase. So the next one will be the Phase 2 one will be Quest of the Jedi. So
and it won't have Quest.
It will have the Quest of the Jedi, and Europeans will actually be able to read this one. Which they can.
Oh, because that's right. They didn't. Dark Horse didn't release Quest over there.
Yeah. So funny stuff. Yeah. But the weird thing with that is they picked 2 covers that I think they're great looking covers, just interesting covers for a cover art for an omnibus.
Yeah.
They're the Miko Suyan one. And one option is a
Sorcerers of Tun.
Yeah. Right? Giant Sorcerers of Tun in the background with Vildar and Maddie in the front. And then the other one is his, the Blade cover, which is wild to pick the mini series cover for an omnibus. Like, could you imagine just being like, oh yeah, I picked my favorite like Trail of Shadows cover for this.
It's got Emmerich on the front.
Or Eye to Storm #2.
I mean, if they pick the David Lopez like
the chain one.
No, the Cyan Holt variant, the one where she's like holding out the lightsaber. That's like one of my favorite covers of all time. I'd be okay with that, but
So yeah, I do look forward to rereading the Marvel book. Actually, and then God, I swear we are going to get to the meat of this episode. But just yesterday, it went up on Viz's website that we officially are getting Edge of Balance Volume 3, which is, depending on how you count it, the 4th book in the Edge of Balance series,
and a book that was teased in like
a year and a half ago,
March of 2021 or 2022.
22.
Yeah.
So this will be the Phase 3 manga. But so it is Volume 3 because they did 1, 2, and Precedent. Precedent has the framing story that takes place after 2.
So it's basically 2.5.
Anyway, well, regardless of that, the manga's continued, but it's not coming out until August. if I remember.
Of 24, yeah. Which is insane that it was announced by Viz this early. Especially like a manga,
it like went up on their site.
Especially like manga paces, because like those artists and stuff like pump things out in like a week basically. Right. So it's like, why are they telling them like, so it'll be cool. I guess now in hindsight, I don't mind that the precedent volume had a gold spine, because it is going to be the only one that would have been blue probably. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
So do you think there'll be a fourth one there? So it'll actually be symmetrical. So 1, 2, president, and then 3, 4.
I would assume, although the fact that it's coming out so late in the phase.
Do we know how long phase 3 is going to be?
It's going through 25
is the last one. So my guess is
it probably in like because based on like phase 1-ish timing with like how long the comics go afterwards and whatever else things they have. As of right now, assuming no delays, so like add like 3 months probably just to be safe. May
it's gotta come out digitally
25.
First.
Yeah.
Oh, don't remind me of that.
Well, digitally only, then JK. After you've already bought it digitally, we'll give it to you physically. Fine. But anyways, so the comics today.
Yeah.
We're talking about Dark Droids number 3, which was written by Charles Soule with pencils from Luke Ross, the colors from Alex Sinclair, and letters from Travis Lanham. Caleb, what happened in this issue?
Oh boy, a lot happened this issue. We'll start with the Scourge. Camp was reliving some memories of various droids he's assimilated before focusing back on C-3PO on Mustafar. He is there to capture Vader and unlock his cyborg force hybrid system there. But also aboard the Scourge 01, we have Ajax here, who has decided, hang on, let me find the right photo there, who's decided to finally launch his attack and destroy the Scourge, ending the vile threat once and for all. The Scourge himself is now pulled in 3 directions. He must capture Vader, he must fend off Ajax, or he must complete his research. He makes, and after some internal deliberation, he makes the decision. He does manage to drive off Ajax, leaving him floating in space. He makes a breakthrough in organic captures there, but he fails to take out Vader. And that's where we can have end the series there with Ajax in space, Vader still free, but there are now 3 cyborgs kind of teased at the end here that are now under his control.
Yeah, it's a lot happening. It was very cool to see, I guess, the physical form of the Scourge. I can't remember. Was this his first issue that he was in, or was he in the last one?
Like his like super spiky form. I think this is the first time we really got a look at him.
Scourge 1 like converted or like Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I don't think I've ever seen anything just like extreme. How do I put it there? His character design is really on point.
I think wasn't it that his character design is like an old like General Grievous concept or something like that? I think people like made this connection when like he first started appearing on covers before we knew what he was. But yeah,
I don't know. I don't know like what he did to the Star Destroyer to make all these spires, but I don't really care. It's so cool.
I was like, I had that thought. I'm like, where's like all this extra just like material coming from? And I'm like, whatever. It looks sick.
Did he Amazon all those purple lights there or something? Black lights for cheap.
And then I mean, all these designs are so cool. This dude with his skull like in a spacesuit floating in liquid. It's awesome. And then of course, the big action is we get to see Vader armless and legless.
He's just getting tossed around by these like or the Dark Troopers or whatever.
Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
But then the fight between him and the Ajax, or between him and Ajax is him and Scourge. I keep getting them confused. I think one of the coolest force feats we've seen in a long time. Because he doesn't have his armor, he doesn't have his lightsaber, and he just destroys him.
Yeah. Well, he has his lightsaber kind of for a second, and then they yoink it or whatever.
That's true.
You get see Anakin as old Stumpy again.
Yeah, exactly. It harkens back to Soul's Vader run.
Mhm. Yes.
Where I mean, same imagery of
With like the red kind of aura for his limbs.
the angry depiction of Anakin. Yeah, that's really good action all throughout this, and I like. So they've been teasing in the first 2 issues how he like is basically omnipotent, but only at times. Like
he's got like limited
he's got to
capabilities.
focus. And so that sort of paid off here, where it's like he had 3 objectives and had to pick which one was the most important.
Yeah. In previous issues is like, oh, I can't like be everywhere at all at once, and then like his basically like drone possessed droids would accidentally just like murder people, like randomly. It's like just toss them off of like walkways or whatever in Coruscant.
Yeah. So it's really fascinating. I do like Vader here. Like, I feel like this is a good use of your Vader. Like, he didn't even speak once throughout this whole thing. You never saw a dialogue bubble from Vader. Like, you just saw like his like the close up of his big yellow eyes and like
other than that little there in the top right panel, kind of like the only dialogue we get from Ben Solo in Rise of Skywalker.
No, it's been cool. It's interesting at the end we have all of the like cyborgs corrupted, which there was a cover of it a long time ago, so we knew it was coming. We have seen now, I guess we'll get to it in Star Wars this week. We saw Lobot get turned. Valance we saw get carted away, and he was already under the control of Cligson, so it was kind of an inevitability. We have not. I don't think we've seen Tolven. She was on a mission in Afra recently. But I can't remember. I don't think she got possessed yet, but obviously,
which I think this will be another discussion we can have.
Yeah, Trev's going to be very mad about the single panel.
And just release order versus.
I think it's been crazy because I think the release order has been really good so far.
Oh yeah,
it's just there's. Nice. I mean, unless they actually are going to take place, you can't do that because comics have to release them every month. They're not just going to be like, all right, we've got to wait 4 months for this next one because it takes place.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, yeah, like you said, we've had a tease, but this was a sick ending. How just all 3 of these angry people, Valance with his hand on fire like he's Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Well, it's like Valance, like in the last issue or whatever, basically did the Omni-Man just like destroyed someone's head randomly. Nice. So yeah, I mean he seems very extremely powerful when it's like the Superior Spider-Man, where it's like if it's not Peter or Valance behind the wheel, you might just accidentally murder a bunch of people. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
He doesn't have any restraint.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully he's alive for issue 42. But
and beyond.
Yeah, and beyond. But yeah.
No, it was we had a really like stacked issue here. Like if we're being only like one issue, it felt like we hit some pretty major like plot points there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a lot of Ajax.
Yeah, we got a lot of Ajax. We have the Scourge making his breakthrough and finally merging with the meat at some point.
Yes.
Now he must consume more. Like to talk a little bit about Ajax here, like he led a kind of a semi not very successful raid against the Star Destroyer here, using essentially a pike. Him and his cadre of robots here. It was like a little sad to see like his like G3 like companion get blown up by the TIE fighters. Like that was actually like, oh, this sucks now. And then he got essentially jettisoned out into space. So this is. We're going to see. Are we seeing a parallel between him and R2? That's what happened to R2.
He's going to meet up with
D Squad. D Squad number 2 is coming up pretty soon.
And maybe. But my thought is maybe he's going to have to team up with like organics. It's just like the whole like what was it the big Campbellian circle? Like he hit like a failed attack now, so now he has to rejoin his forces. Start making friends with like other people like Luke or like Hans or Lando or maybe even Vader, and then come back to end it once more.
Lando's a good option because Lando's got beef with Scourge now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Ever since Lobot, and yeah, like you said, Star Wars 39, which was another great issue. I don't know, we don't really have time to go deep into it here, but it was just a really solid Lando Lobot.
team up.
I've been liking this arc, even though it means that like Luke Skywalker has been kind of off screen during this event.
He got his solicit came out for today. He's coming back for issue. Oh, I don't remember which one, but the one in January I think has him. Yeah,
with like kyber crystals and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coming back.
You got to build that lightsaber eventually.
Yeah, two issues every 6 months is how he's going to be constructing this lightsaber.
You know, as long as we have like a style and they have like the plan for that, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so HX is now stuck without a ride. Do you think we'll see like a different side of him now that he's like, is not having to put on a show maybe for his followers? Do you think his like big...
I don't think it was a show. I think he's like a true believer of his cause. I think the change will be the fact that he's like confronted with he just lost all of his people.
Yeah,
and now
he got smacked.
Yeah, and he led them into this like conquest that was pointless. So yeah, he'll probably have a bit of a revelation moment. But we'll see who he teams up with next. If it's, I think it probably is D Squad. Let's be real. So
man, it feels like it's been so long since D Squad 2. I know it's only been a few weeks, but I'm so excited. Or since the first one,
D Squad 1. D Squad 2 is next week. It's next week or the week after.
Yeah, I think it's coming out soon with Afra and another Star Wars.
Yes. Yep. So, but yeah, no, cool issue. The issue was just like a lot of action. So
that's fun.
I mean, it's fun. Not as much to talk about.
Well, I think though because of that, like it was easier to follow. I mean, Dark Droids is weird as an event, and if you're not like really on top of it, it can be a little. I don't want to say convoluted, but a little confusing. This one felt a lot cleaner, and maybe that's just because now that we're 3 issues in, I'm like used to the plot.
Yeah.
It definitely was a little bit more focused because I felt like HX was talking a lot more like, hey, I'm focusing here on Mustafar. Now I have to go back to my ship. We're on my ship now. Now he's like talking through his like mental process here. Like everything in this issue was practically from his POV. Yeah. Now I do want to bring up something here. At the very, very start of the issue, he was like reliving some memories from a loader droid about watching a diamond rain.
Yes.
I was getting mad like Blade Runner vibes from that one. Did you guys get that?
I have never seen Blade Runner.
To be honest, same. I read the book and I've seen some of it, but the ending of Blade Runner, spoilers for like the movie as old as Star Wars itself. It's about replicants, and at the end the main replicant is about to die. It's like, hey, all these memories I've had are about to be lost now. Like all these wonderful things are about to be gone because I'm going to die. And that's kind of what the Scourge, I'm falling into your trap here of mixing them up. But Scourge is like, hey, if I didn't come along and like download these memories and relive them, like this beautiful moment would have been lost forever and no one would have known.
Yeah, like The Giver. I'm sure we've all read The Giver.
Yeah, yep.
There we go. That sequence was cool. I mean, one, like you said, philosophically or poetically and whatever, but also the art on that opening panel is so good. Where he's like in the middle of that diamond storm. The art throughout is great, but that panel in particular stood out to me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to. Oh God, I want to see if I can pull up this character really quick. We have someone. We have someone I think we need to have brought back for this event. It make a lot of sense. They are very droid involved, but organic, and that's RB919, the weird dude who had an obsession with IG-88 and War of the Bounty Hunters and brought him back to life before getting like just blasted.
Yeah,
he was very strange. I'll be honest. That was a weird issue of comics. IG-88 one shot.
I did read that. I don't remember that.
Like it's a little weird because it's like, okay, so what's he going to do now? And then he just randomly shows up in Bounty Hunters. Like, I guess
remember the controversial Dark Visions one where that like nurse is obsessed with Vader. It's like that, but if
Harley Quinn is obsessed with Vader.
Yeah, but it's like that. Totally, but the nurse is this dude, and Vader is IG-88's corpse. It's very strange. He's just like obsessed with the perfect machine that is IG-88 and rebuilds him. And he's like, we can go on all these adventures together, IG-88. And then the droid realizes his basically internal restraints were turned off, and he just like kills him and walks away, and that's the end. I was like,
he doesn't walk away. He just like walks out to the junkyard, like, I'm going to think about this for as long.
Yeah, I think he does have like a existential crisis for a minute, and then like just
not about the murder.
off. Not about like his existence.
Right. Okay,
it's about how badly Vader clowned on him last time they met. It's like, man, that force really kicked my butt.
Yeah. All those War of the Bounty Hunters was an interesting event, but those one shots in particular were wild because we had Naked Zuckuss.
Zuckuss wasn't naked in that one, but he was in
the Bounty Hunters. Yeah, it was in the Bounty Hunters issue, I think, directly after the 4-Lawman Zuckuss one shot.
Okay, but it was part of that story.
Yeah, and then there's Bausch. There was Jabba the Hutt.
The big thing I'll always remember from the Zuckuss and 4-Alarm one is because Daniel Jose Older pulled in his weirdo stormtrooper guy who loves riding Newbacks.
Right, yeah, from the
Fastpaw, yeah.
Man,
he re-pulled in that one random character he made. A lot of
gloves in that event. We had Dave Lompop. I think she made her debut in that, and now she was in
the Jabba issue.
Yeah,
where she eats her boyfriend.
It's crazy that we are now 4 events in. Like we're at like 2, maybe 3 years since War of the Bounty Hunters, and like this is still going.
That was I think it was 2021.
This story is, despite being a follow up to all that, is its own kind of thing. Because Kira's not involved.
Kira's gone. R.I.P.
Yeah. Well,
but
we can get into
still alive, but
like they literally name drop her at the start of every single one of these like opening crawls here. It's like,
Oh
yeah, it's like Kira messed up.
Like Kira gambled.
So brief spoiler. I mean,
are we talking Crimson Climb? Or?
Yeah, just for Crimson Climb. If you haven't read it, mute it for 30 seconds.
It's not a spoiler though, because we've already read it.
But it has an epilogue that takes place right after the epilogue of Hidden Empire.
It's the same scene, but just with more information.
With one extra page. So we see her meet someone and we don't know who it is. So maybe that's how Dark Droids is she teams up with, maybe it's Ajax.
I think it's Leia, but she gets them a drink, so it's not Ajax.
Well, true.
Unless Ajax gets meatified.
It's Scourge who is officially he has come for the meat.
It's the Spark Eternal has found another human form and is just chilling.
So maybe that's how this ties into the Kira trilogy. Yes, Max.
Oh, yeah. We do have to. That is one thing we do have to see. Like, I think in this issue they mentioned like, I can't find Spark Eternal. We need to figure out where they are because, that had figured out how to blend machine and man,
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah. Scourge is like jealous of the Spark Eternal.
We could. I don't know. I'm gonna go clownery. Maybe we see Immortal Rur back from the first Afro run. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
That little
probably not.
No, I don't think so. We did. Speaking of the upcoming covers we saw, it looks like Dirge is coming back.
Dirge is Dirge might die or not die. I think he's gonna get the shit knocked out of him. But
has he showed back up yet? Is he currently?
He's been in Bounty Hunters.
Okay, I'm a few issues behind, so I didn't realize he was back. So that because he totally makes sense for this event. I know he's not a robot really, but he's got armor suit. I just assume every suit can be compromised.
That's probably not a bad assumption, to be honest.
Yeah. Then you're like, well, what is a droid? It's kind of like the Toy Story conversation. Like, at what point does a mech suit become a droid?
We just need like the 90s Power of the Force kind of type thing where everyone has like insane armor, and then they're all fair game.
Super jacked.
Who's the dude from Old Republic era with the armor that's all lightsabers coming out his elbows and knees?
Old Republic. Oh. I think I saw a clip of this recently, but I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know the name.
I have not come across
this. All right, well, Jared, where are you at?
Yeah. When Jared listens to this episode in a week, he will be sure, Trev.
Eric Ismarin is his name. I just Googled lightsaber elbows because I knew it would come up.
It worked.
Yeah. Sorry. He's from Children of the Jedi and New Jedi Order. He's in 2 of those, so he's not Old Republic. I just assumed
it's so insane that you would think.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
What what is that? That's so
Did you look him up?
dumb. Yes, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I've known about him for a long time because I feel like a lot of people used to use that as like, this is why Legends
I did see this
is
recently.
a good thing. It's like,
Yeah.
we need to get rid of this BS. And then within, like a year, Poe Dameron had like a dragon in the middle of a planet, and we were already back.
No, it was Mothman, not a dragon.
Okay,
two warring Mothmen.
Yeah. Man, that comic was good. Hey, Marvel, y'all should make an omnibus.
Yeah.
I'd pay money to see it all collected.
Yeah.
It's like the only one that really still needs it that is not like new.
Yes.
Now that we got the back half of Star Wars 2015. But anyways. Yeah.
Nice.
Just kidding. They're gonna give you another printing of a Darth Vader omnibus that already exists.
It's gonna be a Darth Vader Omni that collects Target Vader, Dark Visions,
Black, White, and Red.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's got to be more. I feel like there's more that we're not thinking of right now.
More. Anyway, I don't think that's gonna happen, but it could.
No. But anyways, fun issue. Any other final thoughts on Dark Droids #3 after we've kind of circled around? I like the TIE fighters with just like the random R5 helmets just hanging in the middle. That was kind of funny.
There's a
spider webbed in there.
Yeah, we were talking about the cyborgs earlier. There's this R2 unit, or it's really like a mannequin with an R2 head.
Oh yeah,
somewhere in here. That I'm gonna bring up Toy Story again. It's like Sid's toys.
Sid's toys, yeah.
It's so creepy and weird. I think though my biggest thoughts on this issue is like 3 issues in. I would say this is the best of the 4 events so far. As far as just like the story itself. Now, as far as crossover, we could talk about that when it's all said and done and see how it works out. Mm-hmm. But I'm just really enjoying it.
Yeah, I would like to see Fies and Gore show up more than just the little name drop in the first issue. I think it'd be I don't know if it makes sense with like making a story work with Last Shot since we're before Last Shot.
Yeah,
kind of. Also in the middle of Last Shot, it's complicated. But he's one of my favorite Star Wars villains, I think.
That's a real Gluppy pick. I love it.
He's just so insane, and I don't think he gets enough recognition.
Jacob, you're only saying this because you read that book within the last season.
Yeah,
that is probably true.
I read that like a year ago, and I like the villain a lot, but like I will freely admit, like he is gone. Like once he I read the name in the comic, like wait, it's that dude. That was really cool, but like
don't get me wrong, the overall plot of the book did not stick in my head very much, but that villain, pretty sick.
The villain's great. I feel like to kind of go off that point, one of the reasons that this book is doing so well, with Oz, Jacob, is that it is a little bit more straightforward. It's kind of like, hey, we're just going to do the zombie thing. We're just going to do the Marvel zombie thing, but it's droids.
Yeah. Well, and also, like the tie-ins haven't felt necessary like they were War of the Bounty Hunters, but they also haven't felt superfluous like they did in the others. Like,
yeah,
most of the other 2 events really, the tie-ins didn't feel like they tied in. They just kind of also happened.
It was less of an event and just more of a mini series, really.
Yeah, and like, Afra's dealing with the Spark Eternal thing, but here's the Archivist for 2 issues, and it didn't feel like it was necessary. Whereas this, like, yeah, if you haven't read the Star Wars or Darth Vader issues, you're okay. But if you read those, it does feel
adds a lot. Yeah. So omnibus, please. Anyways,
this show is now just us begging for.
It's like, please.
I'm not even an omni reader. I own one, and I got it yesterday.
Please let me give you another $100 for comics that I've already paid for.
Yeah,
my Omni Cube is growing. I have a decent amount now.
I joked yesterday that when all 3 phases are said and done, they should give us a slipcase. And Jacob was like, I am not buying these again. Like, we've all bought these comics so many times.
Yeah. But so great issue. Other issues that have come out since we chatted last, we did have, okay, here we go. I just scrolled way too far. Mando season 2, number 5. Obi-Wan number 2. Star Wars 39. We can actually kind of talk about this for a couple minutes if we want, since this is an issue we all read and enjoyed.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a straight up continuation of 38. I mean, I know most comics do that, but like this felt like they were a two-parter.
And if you read Lando the miniseries, you will be loving the additional. Yeah, just like I feel like this series was like Charles will be like, I really love my two glubs. Lando's not a glub. Lobot, I would say, is
Lobot's
a glub.
a bit of a glub.
He's like, how can I stuff so much emotion and like character development for Lobot, who I love, especially with like the more like flashbacks we get of them just humanizing Lobot some more.
So that page right at the end where it shows them finishing the heist, is that from the Lando miniseries?
That's not from the series.
I flipped through it real quick right before we recorded and just didn't have time to confirm. But
we got another flashback in this recently that was not related. It's like with Lobot with like the pink fro and they're gambling or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like
there was that
stories.
issue that showed flashbacks like of
them
it was actually
in the moment,
the beginning and the end of the Lando miniseries.
Him in the escape pod or whatever.
Yeah. So this is, it's a straight up like sequel, follow up, whatever you want to call it, to that miniseries.
And if you like the awful droid body horror gore, like there's some pretty good scenes of that in the last bit of Star Wars 39. There's some real messed up where they look like they put like actual like human eyeballs in droids. It's nasty.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been a good series. I think. It's been interesting because, as you mentioned earlier, we're not getting Luke's lightsaber story right now, and then I'm excited to get to that, but I'm pretty happy with what we're doing right now.
Yeah, so. At this point I don't need to see Luke building his lightsaber. I'm just curious what he's doing while maybe he's just still off planet, doesn't even know all this droid shit's going on.
Yeah, is he still on Christophsis? I don't know.
I think it's funny. I mentioned we talked about how it looks like maybe Valance is going to go for Han Solo's carbonite body. You see Lando
just staring at it.
To unfreeze him, and Lobot actually tries to, and then it's like, no, if we do that, he'll be blind and we won't get away. So they really come close. It's very classic Star Wars, fill in the gap kind of stuff. It works. They could have just not addressed it at all, but
I feel like maybe someone would have addressed it, but they did it good because the moment they're like, I don't know if we have the time, and then immediately the droid horde attacks. You're right. You guys didn't have time. Make sense.
Yeah, it's nice to give them the moment, and it's we've already had them being a hair away from getting him in War of the Bounty Hunters, so seeing them this close to him again doesn't really. Yeah. It's not it's kind
of like how many times were we going to see Vader and Luke fight each other between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back? Yeah. Or throughout the Clone Wars, they had to make it so Grievous and Anakin hadn't actually seen each other, even though they got really close a whole lot of times. Or the whole my powers have doubled since we last met count, and Dooku's like, I saw you yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't you see season 5 of the Clone Wars? But no, that's just the nature of Star Wars comics, and it was a great moment. There's this panel of Lando looking up at Han on the wall. So good stuff.
Good issue. And we also got Tales from the Death Star. I guess I mentioned it during what I was reading. It was another Dark Horse graphic novel from Kevin Scott. I do like that we're just basically giving him an automatic green light to write something every Halloween, and this one actually came out around Halloween.
7 straight years now of it.
Because the last one came out December, so this one actually came out on time.
The last one was weird. It came out in comic stores, but not on Amazon. And then I have not read it yet, but the preview art I've seen is probably the best from any of these. There's some really good stuff in there.
It's interesting. I didn't check. I meant to. Here, I'll pull up one of the pages that was a preview. I think I think it might be a reference to the Republic comics, the Legends ones. Oh God, I'm right there. The issue. It's the Stark Hyperspace War. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was.
Okay. Here's one of the preview art pages. These are made of a bunch of tiny little blue beetles, and there's a bunch of blue beetles that come out of the planet in that run to attack Obi-Wan and Quinlan. I'm I don't know if they're supposed to be the same thing, but Yeah, it was a cool issue. It was again the kind of typical. You have your like overarching story, and then lots of little framings, like
Stories,
individual stories within it. So it was good. I liked it.
Is there a High Republic story?
Not really. The most you see is there's like basically like a ghost fighter squadron, and one of them is a Vector, and I could not tell. It kind of looked like it was supposed to be. It's like I feel like that should be someone. It's not quite like Estala, but it's close-ish.
Yeah.
There's also the one weird character who's in the High Republic run who has a very long name that starts with N. It's like Nakanabaran or whatever.
Yeah. The
that kind of
favorite type.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it was a cool story overall. The framing story is, you might enjoy this, is a Tross related one.
Ooh.
So
as the only resident Rise of Skywalker fan.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a good fun story. And then yeah, I think that was all for the past 2 weeks. Upcoming, some options for maybe next week. We have Dr. Aphra 37, D Squad number 2, and Star Wars number 40. I think maybe it's a wait and see kind of type thing, just see what we're vibing with the most.
I know for a fact we will vibe with D Squad.
We will vibe with D Squad. That is a pretty strong contender. But we'll definitely see.
Part of me wants to jump onto the Aphra just because we haven't talked to her since
we have not talked about Aphra in a while.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that might be that'll be a good time to hop back in here. We'll see. But
especially because I mean we got a tease for Tolvin
here.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if it's because I think the last Aphra issue felt like a bit of a setup one. So I think if 37 bangs, then we can talk about that. So
absolutely.
All right. Any final thoughts from the crew? No. Well,
I think we had a great week of comics here.
We did have a pretty solid week. Lots of news. We literally spent half the time talking about news.
Yeah. The funniest part about the news was like, this is New York City Comic Con. For several years, Comic Con's been more about the movies and stuff. And the state of superhero movies is kind of interesting right now, but also with the SAG strike, they couldn't promote them. So we actually
comics.
We got a lot of comics news, which I don't remember ever getting this much comics news out of a
I was expecting we were honestly making lots of memes. Is like, oh yeah, what are we going to get during this publishing panel? Probably nothing. And then actually a lot of things. So
yeah, there weren't any new books at all. Like they barely talked about books. It's just comics, and it was a lot of it. So we got a lot to look forward to in 24
for sure. Well, great. We got a great future ahead of us. Revelations. I was hoping we were gonna get some internal pages from that, but we did not. But Revelations coming in December should give us an even better look at the future. But that will do it for this week's episode of the Cosmic Force. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us right here on YouTube, where you can catch us every other Wednesday. We also encourage you to check us out on the audio version of whatever podcast platform you like. You can follow us on Twitter and tweet at the show at Cosmic Force Show to stay informed with all Star Wars comics news. And you can also follow the shows individually. I'm at Jacob Bausch. Caleb is at Caleb Lamanek, and Oz is Oz. So for reviews, articles, and news for the rest of the wide galaxy of Star Wars content, be sure you visit youtini.com. We also encourage you to check out our Youtini Discord community by going to youtini.com/Discord. And you can support the show by heading to, again, patreon.com/Youtini and start receiving exclusive perks starting at just $5 a month. Special thank you to Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Carl Sander, Zach W, Michael Fry, and Raymond Bazinski on our Jedi High Council, and James T, Ashley Ingalls, Colton Fife, and Chris Carrizzo on our Alliance High Command for all their amazing support. Thanks again, Caleb and Oz. Boys, I will see you next week. May the Force be with you.